right back to our phone callers. Next up is John. He's listening on Sirius XM 131 in Sacramento, California. Hi, John.
Hello, sir. It's ironic. The last time I called was several months back, and I had asked you what you thought about Joel Osteen, and today, during the program, it's all about that. Hey, I was on my way to work, and I had heard a little blurb about Bill Maher. I don't know if you know who he is. He has a really very successful program on HBO. It's been on for quite some time. And on March 14th in his program, he called God, when referring to the movie Noah's Ark, he had called God a psychopathic mass murderer who gets off on watching babies drowned. And I not only found it offensive, but I found it just perplexing that no news media's outlets had said anything. And when I had asked people at work and friends and things like that, nobody had even heard of this. And it's upsetting that, talk show hosts can, make a comment about a Rutgers basketball team and they get fired and sued and things like that. But somebody can step over the line this far and call our God a psychopathic mass murderer, and nobody says anything. And I think that we can do something by, for one, verifying it, which I have, and to hold HBO and Mr. Maher accountable by boycotting HBO and hit them in their bottom line.
Well, I think it is an outrage. I think one of the reasons that people don't react to Bill Maher anymore is because he has made one outrageous statement after another. It is simply deplorable that a person like him, with limited mental acumen, quite frankly, because he makes the most outrageous statements without ever thinking through them. And I'm not saying that he does not have an IQ. What I am saying is that he doesn't use his IQ. That he is consistently making self-stultifying statements. He's very brash and proud. And while he's contradicting himself, he has a smug look on his face. But I think ultimately what we need to recognize is that the Bill Mahers of this world are going to do what the Bill Mahers of this world are going to do because they are pagans. What else would they do? What we need to recognize on the other side of the ledger is that we're Christians, and oftentimes we don't do for the truth what Bill Maher is willing to do for a lie. And because of that, we're not ready to give an answer to the kinds of outrageous things that Bill Maher says. When you see the Christians, you mentioned Joel Osteen. You see Joel Osteen on major interviews, and he's asked a question. Does he stand for truth? No, he obfuscates, or he says, well, we don't like to talk about sin, or we don't like to talk about that. He doesn't stand for truth. Why? Because he knows there is a cost, and popularity is his God. So the problem is not so much that Bill Maher is doing what he's doing, it is that we are not doing what we're called to be doing, and that is to be ambassadors for Jesus Christ, ready always to give an answer to the kinds of nonsense that Bill Maher spews forth over and over again. And by the way, in my book, Has God Spoken?, I mention many of the outrageous statements that Bill Maher makes, and I dissect them and show just how outrageous, but outrageously wrong those statements are.